In this video, I wanted to show you a Blouch turbo that I did a rebuild on that does not take an original Mitsubishi rebuild kit. So what I'm trying to pass the message to you is that some of these turbos out there, they are like a Mitsubishi frame, but they made them a little bit different just so you can't rebuild it. But in this video, I'm going to show you everything I had to go through to go around that and rebuild it anyway so I could get this customer's turbo rebuilt, done, and out of my way and back to him. So to do this, I had to change a lot of parts out, including the whole rotating assembly. So just be aware, if you buy one of the Blouch turbos, if you have this version, you will need to do more work than you can probably do to it, because you will need to machine it to be able to fix the turbine housing and the compressor housing to make different wheels fit. This turbo is a little bit more rare, so don't think that all Blouch turbos are like this, because they're not. I have seen this type of turbo maybe once or twice before, so just keep that in mind. They are out there, but I'm not really sure how many there are out there, and I'm pretty sure it's an older version, so keep that in mind. And no, our rebuild kit will not fit with this shaft. So our rebuild kit fits the genuine shaft. So don't buy a rebuild kit if you are trying to use the original shaft, because it's not going to work. You're going to need custom bearings to rebuild it. Here's the Blouch 20G that I did a turbo upgrade and a rebuild for. This one, originally I was supposed to just do a rebuild, but the problems I ran into was that it has some kind of different compressor wheel that is like a Garrett shaft bore, and then the turbine shaft is a Garrett style turbine shaft that's a little bit smaller than the TD06 20G, which is 55 millimeter. So I did a TD06 turbine in this one, machined the turbine housing to fit, and then the compressor wheel, I did a 20G compressor wheel and CNC'd the compressor housing out. The compressor wheel is pretty close to a regular 20G compressor wheel, so there wasn't much machining. The inducer was exactly the same. The thing that was really annoying about this turbo was that the journal bearing inside diameter sizes were different for that shaft. So because of that, I couldn't replace the journal bearings, which means if I wanted to replace the journal bearings, I couldn't use the original shaft. And because the shaft bore for the compressor wheel is different, I could not use the compressor wheel with a Mitsubishi turbine shaft, which basically means I can't reuse the shaft, compressor wheel, or the journal bearings if I want to replace them. Which means I pretty much had to replace everything in the turbo besides the center cartridge and the housings. I don't know if you caught it or not, but another thing that's kind of interesting with this turbo is it did use the original Mitsubishi thrust collar and spacer. It used the original thrust bearing too. So the only difference was those journal bearings, so they'd have to be a custom size to use this shaft again, which is really annoying, because this customer should have never had to pay to replace the shaft or the compressor wheel, but because it needed custom journal bearings made, which is something I can't do on my machine, because it needed those, then I had to replace the shaft and the compressor wheel, which means he had to rebuy stuff he didn't even really need if we had journal bearings to fix it.